Hi, today I'm going to be talking about SIADH, and SIADH is syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone, and it's an increase in the secretion of antidiuretic hormone. So why do I care? Care a lot. Because antidiuretic hormone means you don't get rid of water. It's an anti-diuretic rather than a diuretic. So your kidneys actually reabsorb water and you hold on to it. So you get water overload. And because of this water overload, you end up with a hemodilution of sodium. So hyponatremia. And we all know that, or maybe some of us know, not everybody knows that having too little sodium in the body is not good. It actually throws off your electrolytes really bad. Okay, so what can cause SIADH? Well, a tumor. That's not a good thing. So a tumor in your brain, in your neck, specifically like bronchogenic carcinoma can cause it, but even things like side effects of NSAIDs, chemotherapy meds, psychotropic meds can actually trigger SIADH. So, looking at like symptoms of SIADH, if you've got too much water, you've got like water overload, then we're going to be looking at symptoms of water overload. So like jugular vein distension. With this one, because the kidneys reabsorb water and it's an antidiuretic overload, you're not going to have much urine output. So very little urine output. Oliguria is going to be going on. And because of that, your urine specific gravity is going to be high. And that's something we usually see with dehydration and a myriad of other things. But in this case, it's not because the person's dehydrated. It's actually the opposite. But that fluid is shifting over to the cells, so it's not usable, really water. We're just fluid overloaded. Now, other symptoms that we have because of the fluid overload and its resultant cause in hyponatremia ends up causing symptoms of hyponatremia. So we end up with cerebral edema is one of the things that can actually happen from SIADH. And if you've got cerebral edema and you've got all that pressure like pushing on your brain, headache is going to be one of those things that you see. Another thing is irritability is something that we see. Nausea. People can have malaise. They're just worn out. People can feel weak, like confused. If you had water pushing in on your brain, you'd probably feel the same way. If people's sodium levels drop below 120, get really low, then they can end up in seizures. They can end up in a coma. Okay. So things that we're really wanting to watch for are that cerebral edema and that increased intracranial pressure. Now, how do I know if someone has SIADH? So to diagnose it, things that we're going to be looking at are that scant urine output. So just little bits of pee, okay? And because of little bits of pee, and that increased urine-specific gravity, that really thick yellowish pee, okay? That's partly what we use to diagnose it. Also, a decreased serum sodium and decreased serum osmolality are things that we're going to see. Because it's not that the amount of sodium in the body changed, It's just diluted because there's so much water that it diluted. Okay. But how do we treat it then? Excuse me. So to treat it, we can focus on treating the hyponatremia, and we can give like 3% sodium IV solutions. But if we just really need to remember to be careful with the use of hypertonic solutions that draw that fluid out of the cell and back into the venous system, just because we want to make sure that we don't use them for a long period of time, because they can be really, really dangerous to the system. So we want to make sure we're watching vital signs on our patients very closely when we use those hypertonics. We also want to fluid restrict our patients to typically under 1,000 mils of fluid in a 24-hour period, just because they already are so fluid overloaded anyway. Medications, we can use mannitol. We can also use some diuretics to try and help increase urine output. We can also use some vasopressin antagonists to help increase urine output, as well as things like diclomycin, which also help increase water excretion from the kidneys, all to help facilitate getting rid of water from the system. So anyway, that's a really fast SIADH in a teeny tiny nutshell. So I hope you find it helpful. It's not meant to diagnose anything. It's just there to hopefully help you study SIADH, and hopefully it helps you understand it a little bit better. If you want to also check out my Facebook page at Studying Nursing with Nurse Amy, you can do that, and that would be great. Also, feel free to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks.